Uh, we have a special meeting today. And so happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Beautiful weather in the Reading area. I don't know if the Super Bowl turned out good for you or not, but if it did, then good. I see some thumbs up. And so if it's okay with everybody, let's go ahead and just kind of bypass some of the technical things that we do as far as the reviewing of the minutes, so we can have more time for our special guests, not only people that are joining us in the area, in our 5-county region, but we also are really pleased, and Jamie's going to do some more introductions, to have what has turned out to be a wonderful partnership with Strive. And so with that, I was just going to kind of start in just a couple of minutes, take to, it's listed as like a kind of a call to action, but, we've been having some really good conversations with folks recently, and, just kind of historically with NST and how it started, 2016, we started off with a kind of a 2-year, is this going to work adventure. And our first, task was to get all the county teams up and running, which we did. And at that point, we kind of moved into kind of NST 2.0, if you will. There's Kelly, I see our wonderful advocate with the McConnell Foundation. And then we were able to get, a 7-year renewal, and we kind of hit our stride. We were doing really, really well. All the counties were working together. We were getting all of our data lined out and using the same measurement tools, and we were doing really, really well. And just like the rest of the world, the pandemic came, and it kind of pushed the pause button on everyone and everything. And I hope it's not a false summit right now. I hope it's not, but I almost kind of get this feeling like we're over a hump now, and we may be headed towards greener pastures. And so what I'm hoping is, and what the feeling I have, and the NST team has, is that this is kind of a good start for us for like an NST 3.0. We're coming out of the pandemic, we're building what our future is going to look like. And we have Strive now, and this partnership that we've created that can kind of lay that foundation for us on our 18-month plan. We have the summit coming up. So anyway, I'm feeling really good about where we're at. I want to thank all the county teams, and I'm not going to waste any more time. I'll let Jamie introduce our special guests, but thank you all for coming in, especially the students, the interns there in MODOC. We appreciate you joining us. All right, take it away, Jamie.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. I didn't know who would be else on the call from our 5-county region besides our advisory board members. So super happy to see some faces, and those of you not on video like Cliff, some names. It's great to see everyone here. As you've heard me talk about for what seems like forever, but really hasn't been that long, we're super excited to be new StriveTogether network members. We went through the civic infrastructure assessment evaluation process back in the spring and officially became members, I think it was June, and then turned around and had to redo the fall annual assessment period that they have just this fall. We knew what we wanted out of Strive, but they have far surpassed what we thought we would be given as far as supports. Our goal was like this common framework and maybe some national trainings and some network partnerships, but really they've given that and more. So to be able to have a common point of what we are going to look for collaborative improvement and the structure, they have this stuff down and really have resourced us well. So for 2022, StriveTogether has redone their coaching model. So many of you probably have known that we were assigned a coach, and it was a coach navigator. And the relationship was a little bit different than the way Strive is going for this coming new year and going forward. And so it's a very targeted, results-based facilitation approach. And we were assigned a new coach for North State Together. And I am really happy that we got the best of the best at Strive. Her name is Quinn Miller, and I've had the opportunity to see her in action doing trainings over this last fall. She led I think it was called Coaching in Challenging Times or something like that. It was phenomenal. She's really the best of the best. And we had an opportunity to meet with her one-on-one since she's been assigned since January, and her impact that she's already making of, okay, let's get down to it. Let's move to action versus just talk has just been great. So Quinn is going to help us lead through this beginning part by talking about the resources that StriveTogether offers, but on a bigger scale than what you've heard from us before. So she's going to then dive down into how can you apply that to your work, and does that resonate? Is this even going to help the structures that they have? Of course, we believe North State Together as a region, it will help, but will it help your county collective impact teams doing the work that you're already doing? And so with that, we'll also then lead a little bit later into going over an 18-month support plan that we have drafted, as well as a new exciting county-based pilot project, but I don't want to do a spoiler alert on what that has yet, so I'm not going to. I'll let Quinn kick it off, do a check-in and introduce herself a little bit more, and really dive in. And then hopefully, since it's Valentine's Day, her check-in may involve talking about some positive, lovely county things. So with that, Quinn, go ahead.
Well, Jamie, that was quite the introduction. Thank you for just sharing just kind of what we're going to dive in today, as well as just a little bit about what we're bringing in terms of supports from StriveTogether to really undergird existing work that's phenomenal and amazing. And I'm just excited to be here with you guys. As Jamie said, my name is Quinnetta Miller. Folks just call me Quinn for short. I am the Director of Coaching and Collaborative Improvement here at StriveTogether. I hope that you all had a wonderful Sunday, regardless if you were into the Super Bowl or just had time to rest. I feel like all morning I've been sending a virtual tissue to my wonderful colleagues in our central office in Cincinnati. And so lots of virtual tear emojis today for that team. But just, again, excited to be with you guys. I want to share my screen here to just do a couple things. One is to talk a little bit about StriveTogether, kind of what we do, who we are, how we do our work, and really to ground this in conversations around the amazing, life-changing things that you guys are doing to support youth and families in your communities, within your region. And so I'm a firm believer that there is power. As my grandmother said, you know, there's something amazing about when the village is supporting and wrapping our arms around young people. And so there's just so many amazing things that are possible when we work together and we work collaboratively to support youth and families. And so as Jamie said, we're going to first start off with a check-in. This is just kind of standard process that we do at StriveTogether to just see how folks are doing. As part of that check-in, I really just want to create space to celebrate you all and to hear from you all across the different regions, things that are just, I call them the wins, right? The celebrations, the things that you guys are proud of, you're excited about, the things you're seeing momentum and progress around. And then I'll go a little bit into StriveTogether, who we are, what we do, how we do our work, and share a little bit about some examples from our network members around the types of supports that we provide as part of being a partner with you all in this work. And then I'm going to hand it over to Jamie, her team, to really do a deep dive into the pathways to opportunity in rural Northern California. But this is really the meat of the 18-month plan, where she's going to outline the supports that you guys will be getting from her and her team, and then talk about some universal supports that are available to you all as being network members with StriveTogether. And then talk specifically about some of the supports that I'm excited about providing for you guys for this year around several models that we use with our partnerships with this, which is collaborative improvement, results count, and results-based facilitation. I'll skip norms because I feel like we've been in the virtual world for, Jamie, how long has it been? Oh goodness, I'm waiting for this season to be over, but we'll get there at some point. But we're gonna start with the check-in. I would love for folks if you could just do super quick, just so I can see who's in the room and hear folks' voice. Your name, organization, and just how are you today? Because we are a pretty substantial group today, we're going to use the chat box function as a way to do our celebrations. So while folks are checking in with name and organizations, everyone else, if you want to just use the chat right now to share a couple things. One, how have you seen collaborative efforts solve problems for kids in your region? And then just celebrate like the skills and competencies that you and your organization is bringing to those collaborative efforts. I would really appreciate that. To sort of speed up our check-in so I could just get a sense of who's in the room, we're gonna do this popcorn style. So once you volunteer yourself to go first, you have to call on the next person and that person will unmute themselves and just say their name, organization, and just how are they doing today. Who would like to kick us off?
Hey, I'll go for, oh, sorry, Christina. My internet's dodgy and I see I have internet right now. So I was going to go first.
Go ahead.
Morning. My name is Anna Carson. I live and work here in Trinity County, Northern California. I work under StriveTogether, which obviously sits under North State Together backbone. I'm doing really good today. So I'm thankful to have a job that I love and to have so many people working on similar efforts regionally, nationally. It always feels good to be part of a team effort. So I will pass it to Christina.
Thank you, Anna. I'm Christina Van Alphen. I'm the interim Dean of Career and Technical Education at College of the Siskiyou, and I'm also the chair of C2C4S, which is for Siskiyou County. I'm doing great. It's beautiful and sunny today. As usual, I'm really hoping for some more precipitation, excuse me, it's Monday morning for our area, but otherwise I'm doing great. I'm gonna go with Susan.
Thanks, Christina. Good morning, everyone. Susan Schroet with North State Together, and I am doing fantastic today. I received a singing Valentines from my son in college that just lit up my morning. Always a good thing to get that first thing in the morning. And as far as everyone else, I see smiling faces, and that also brings me joy. So I am going to call on Kelly Salter.
You just knew I was typing, right? So I'm Kelly Salter. I am a senior program officer at the McConnell Foundation, and super happy to be here and finally to be a part of the Strive Network, and so happy to see all of us working in that way. And I am doing really well, primarily because of that. So thank you. I forgot, and I need to call on somebody. So I am going to call on Brad Williams.
Kelly, Brad Williams with College Options, nonprofit organization here in Reading, also part of Reach Higher Shasta, and doing well today. I would say primarily because I got to see my grandkids on the weekend, so that's always fun, and I really appreciate that. Let me go with Wendy Zanatelli.
Thanks, Brad. Wendy Zanatelli. I am the CEO of the Smart Workforce Center. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that administers the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funding in Shasta, Trinity, Siskiyou, and Del Norte counties. I am on the executive committee of Reach Higher, and I also work with several of our other partners I see in the room in our other counties. So very excited to hear about this next steps. And I'm great today. Had an amazing weekend with my kiddos, and glad to be back at work. So I'm tossing it over to my partner to the south, Miss Kathy Garcia.
Hey, thanks, Wendy. Hi, everybody. Kathy Garcia. I'm with Expect More Tehama. I'm actually the paid coordinator, but also helped found it back in 2009. I also wear a workforce hat. So I'm also business services and marketing manager here at Job Training Center in Tehama County as well. I am going on vacation in like 4 days and 3 hours and 6 minutes or something like that. So on Sunday of next weekend, I should be doing a backlot tour at Warner Brothers and then Universal Studios with all of my kids, plus a couple of extras. So super excited about that. So, you know, that weird euphoria that you get. So I'm going to be, you know, flying around like that all week long. really happy to be here and excited to hear more about all that's going on. I'm going to bump it to Tanya.
Thanks, Kathy. I'm Tanyaramming. I'm the coordinator of Advancing MODOC Youth and the Work Experience Coordinator for College of the Siskiyous. Feeling pretty good this morning. I have my new batch of interns. I'll let them introduce themselves. Yay! And this is like my favorite part of the job, is getting to actually work with our lovely young people. Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Val Farnham. I'm a student in MODOC High School, and I'm doing good today.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ebony Morris. I'm a student in MODOC High School, and I'm doing good today.
We're all doing good. We're happy to be here. Weather's great. It's nice to see happy faces on a Valentine's Day. And I will bounce it to Marie Caldwell.
Good morning, all. Marie Caldwell, Director of the Siskiyou Works Project, which is linking education to industry in Siskiyou County and actually our region at this point. I'm also the coordinator for C2C4S here in Siskiyou County, which is the Siskiyou County Network. So I work closely with Christina and Marion Murphy-Shaw. And also a board member of College Options out of Shasta County. And so I think that covers it. And it's a great day. I got to drive to Ukiah and watch a little college baseball over the weekend. And we weren't on the super winning end, but the last game we did win. So that was awesome.
Maria, if you can pass it.
Sorry, I'm going to pop it to Marion Murphy-Shaw, my colleague in Siskiyou.
Morning, Maureen. Thanks. Hi, everyone, and welcome, Quinetta. I am Marion Murphy-Shaw. I work with the Siskiyou County Office of Education as an Educational Services Director there. So I support math, science, STEM, career tech, and fine arts in all of our K-12 districts. I am also a member designated by the Superintendent of Schools to this advisory board on behalf of K-12. So I'm happy to be here with NST and a board member with Cradle to Careers for Siskiyou with Christina and Marie and so many other wonderful partners. I'm having a great day because this is a day off for our office. So after I'm done here, I'm taking off. I'm going to pass it to Gordon. Good morning, Gordon.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Gordon Dewitt, and I have the privilege of being the coordinator for Reach Higher Shasta, which is the collaborative network in far northern California, Shasta County, Redding, California. Honored to serve on a team. A few of our executive committee members are in this meeting here today. It's just a privilege to watch the work, even in some really, really difficult times that we've all experienced over the past few years, to see these experts in their field who care deeply about our students and their development and opportunities continue to find ways to adapt and overcome. And so it's an honor and to be part of NST and StriveTogether here. Excited for what's to come. And you all called on the people that I had in the 1, 2, and 3 slots. So I will go with James, unless you've already been called on.
I have not. Thank you. Good morning, James Cranall. I'm the Director of IT and Data Strategies for StriveTogether. And other than having to look out the window at the good weather instead of being out in it, I am fabulous today. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here. And I will pass it to Kate Mahar.
Oh, okay, Grissom instead.
Go for it, Kate.
I'll wait my turn.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kate Mahar with StriveTogether and Scale, and just so proud to be a part of this amazing group and great to see your faces. Kate Grissom.
How did I know that was going to happen? Well, I'm Kate Grissom. I'm from Expect More Tehama. I see Kathy and Cliff are both on the phone. I'm actually sitting in my car right now in the parking lot at beautiful Mount Shasta Ski Park. I've been chasing my daughter all around the mountains of Mount Shasta and Tahoe for the last couple of days. She's competing in the alpine sport of snowboarding. So today is our final race. So we're sitting up here desperately praying for more snow so this beautiful mountain can stay open for a couple more months or weeks. Anyways, like I said in my comment, just love the fact that here we are coming full circle to Strive. I think we had a pretty monumental or a milestone moment all those years ago in Chicago. And so excited to, hear how we can all just be better, collective impactors. So thanks everyone for having us.
And I feel like we still got a couple folks left. Jerry, I don't think I've heard from you. We'd love to hear you check in.
Yeah, Jerry Brown with Shasta College, Director of Community Alliance. Doing well today. And we're in the process of finalizing our Black History Month celebration, which will be held here on campus this year, on February 24th. So you can make it, love to see you.
And
I'll throw it to my man, Kevin.
Good morning, everyone. Kevin O'Rourke, part of the North State Together team. I am doing very well. It's a great way to start the week. And I see we have the president of the College of the Siskiyou on with us. Madam President, please take it away.
Thanks, Kevin. So I'm the interim president at College of the Siskiyous, and I too am excited. I'm going on vacation next week, a snowboard trip to Aspen. I've never been there, so super excited about that. And I want to take this opportunity really quickly to pitch a fundraiser that we just finalized this morning. It's for COS Athletics. I'm going to put the flyer, hopefully that'll work. Hopefully you'll be able to open it. But everybody who dines at Mount Shasta Brewing Company in Weed, proceeds will go towards COS Athletics and on Sunday the 20th from 12 to 7. So try to stop by and support COS Athletics. Our athletes will actually be serving that day. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Char. And Jamie and Susan, did you guys get an opportunity to check in? Just want to give you space to just share how you're doing today.
Jamie, I think we missed Cliff, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was just going to say. Cliff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Cliff Curry, Superintendent of Red Bluff Elementary. It's good seeing all these faces. While so the last 2 years has been pretty busy in education, like most of you are aware. It's good to be sort of seeing the tail end of a particularly bad surge, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting back into the work. And I think the discussion about Strive is a good place to start because it was really productive for us over the years, and in particular the thing that we went to in Chicago. So I'm happy to see all of you here. I've also got a little mini emergency going, so I may be blanking my screen so you don't see me jumping in and out, but good to see y'all.
Thank you guys for that flag. Jamie and Susan, do you guys mind if I just go ahead and let's jump right back in here? So first of all, lots of wonderful things that I just heard during the check-in as well as in the chat box here. Is I get excited when I can sit in a room with folks who are, I call them these systems players, just hearing what you all are doing, the efforts that you're leading. I can feel the energy, even just through this virtual call right now, the level of collaboration, the excitement about working together, the excitement around this idea that we are collectively doing this work together, and the energy that comes when you are able to share with each other best practices and resources around improvement efforts. And so just excited to just be with you guys today. I want to share a little bit as we dive into our conversation, just a little bit about StriveTogether and what this partnership with you all will look like, not just for this year, but as part of this 18-month plan and moving forward. One of the things that I heard in the check-in that I think really powerfully illuminates something that we value at StriveTogether is this idea that everyone in collective impact work has a role to play. And the powerful work of collective impact is really the belief that not one organization or one individual can really lead the systems change that we want to see and the improvement work that we want to see on behalf and with families and youth of color and those that are experiencing poverty. And the effort really is what you guys powerfully spoke to in the chat box, which is we have to do this together. We have to do this in concert with each other in a way that really honors the work at all levels. And so when I think about the role that we play, we think about it as it's all hands on deck. Everyone's involved at some level. And the goal is always that we want to reach every kid. We want to make sure that we are surrounding our young people and surrounding folks in our communities and families with an environment that really supports them to reach their fullest potential. And I'm just thinking about just all the folks that are on this call, from those that are superintendents that are leading efforts for school districts, or folks on the call who are really thinking about what this work means for young people that are in college, even the young folks that are on this call. Everyone has a powerful role to play. And so we tend to think of this kind of in 4 big groups. As StriveTogether as a national network, we have a role to play, right? So a couple powerful roles that we think we take up in supporting collective impact initiatives is really around convening folks. I heard folks mention a convening opportunity that's coming up for us in the middle of the year, which is our kind of our largest convening, where we bring all of our network members across the US to really learn from each other, hear from each other, think about best practices, and really advancing systems transformation work in their local communities, but to really think about what are some opportunities that we can share resources and share best practices with each other. Another powerful role that we take up as an organization is really around coaching. As Jamie alluded to earlier, our coaching has gone through some iterations, which is always in the spirit of collaborative improvement and continuous improvement. How can we get better to better serve our partnerships? And so one of the biggest levers and arms that we have deployed this year is really providing that individualized coaching support for each network member that's part of our Creative to Career Network. Largest goal that arm that we take up is really, I hate the term codified because I feel like it's part of the jargon of nonprofit world, but it's really about how do we share what we're learning. I used to be a former teacher here in Chicago, and what best advice I got from a teacher was the more that you can steal from other folks, the better you're going to be as a teacher. And so the more that we can share, not steal, but share what best practices around how to do this work, the more we're able to really draw on resources that will support youth and family in our communities. And 2 other powerful arms that we've taken up in the last couple of years is really around investing and providing some grant financial support for our partnerships and really influencing the field of policy and advocacy. And all of this is to support the ongoing work that our partnerships are doing. We know that you guys are, like North State, aligning community stakeholders, really trying to shift thinking around, actually, one agency can't do this. We could actually do this better together. We know that you guys are on the ground with folks building sustainability, talking about data, how to use data to really drive towards population level results. And we know that you guys are really thinking strategically about how do we direct funding and really support what we know is working to really advance the outcomes improvement that we want to see for youth and families. And then I never like to forget that this work is the day-to-day grind of the work is really happening with our stakeholders, right? Those boots on the ground. And these are the folks that are providing that direct service and support. They're engaging with the community and really trying to advance equity and closing disparity gaps, advocating for policy, practice changes, and really thinking about how to implement and sustain the resources that are being solidified and found and motivated and pulled together by folks like you all and by North State. And so in that spirit of this role that we play, all of this is in service again to youth and families. I always like to orient folks into, before I dive into kind of what we do and how we do our work, I always like to start with the why we do our work, right? We know that when we think about the context of history and we think about communities and families, we know that folks are situated differently and unevenly in structures that they inhabit. And so because of that, we recognize that opportunities are disparate and uneven across communities, across regions, and even across when we think about racial groups. And one of the most powerful roles that you all play as systems leaders and having that, as I like to call like the balcony view, is that you can see, right, where there might be gaps in opportunities, where there might be places where there is really an opportunity to really rethink what are the resources, what are the things that we might need to shift in terms of policies or practices or power structures to really ensure that the opportunities or the outcomes for young people is not predicated on where they live, right? Just because they live in this zip code doesn't determine where they will be. And so one of the things that we truly believe at StriveTogether is that ultimately we want to drive results around the belief that we need to organize ourselves, our systems, our partners, and those on the ground. That includes schools, communities, businesses around young people and not institutions. And so the work that we do at StriveTogether with our communities is really thinking about how do we transform the systems that are surrounding young people. And our core belief is that as we think about the how to do this, it really is about shifting those policies, those practices and resources and power structures to improve the conditions of Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and Asian youth and families and those that are experiencing poverty. And so every context is different, right? So we have partnerships across the US where they are seeing those disparate outcomes in maybe their predominant Black communities, or they are seeing it predominantly in Latinx communities. And so we tend to think about this as like, where do we see these kind of locally defined disparities that exist within our regions or our community? And the powerful work of the partnership, right? The powerful work that you all are doing is to really take the balcony view to say, we're noticing there's a gap. What's the role that we can feel to really support and center our work in what we know will support youth and families? Jamie already spoke to this. You guys probably already know this. We just hold this core belief that I call them the milestones, that we know just from research and best practice that when kids are hitting these milestones, they are on their way to be successful in terms of post-secondary completion. We have lots of folks representing that outcome space on this call today, with the goal that they are employed, moving towards economic mobility. And so we have a host of partnerships that are working on some end of this continuum, or working on multiple outcomes on this continuum. And the idea is that as young people are hitting these roadmaps, we know that hitting these places on the roadmap, that they're going to be successful. As part of that, and Jamie, you alluded to this earlier, we take this, this idea that partnerships actually can organize themselves, right? And really build an infrastructure that supports this type of change work, right? That leads to systems transformation. This is not work that's done overnight. As someone said, things in our progress can derail us. This pandemic is a perfect example of that. But this powerful infrastructure that we build across communities, across partnerships and organizations, really allow for the change, sustaining the change work that we want to see. And as part of this sort of theory of action, which is our kind of core assessment tool that we use with our partnerships to measure their progress to systems transformation, is a way for partnerships to think about what are the sort of stepping stones, or what's the blueprint that I want to build in my community that's going to advance us to getting towards this big goal of systems transformation. So we kind of hold 4 principles. One is around engaging the community, which you guys, as I saw in the check-in, is already doing. Advancing equity as it relates to your local context. And this idea that Jamie's going to talk a little bit about later as part of this pilot project, which is how do we build a culture of continuous improvement to really look at data, make iterations. I think someone named this in the chat, which is like all of this work is about getting better. It's about testing, seeing what's working, going back to the drawing board, making improvements. And so building that culture of continuous improvement is one of the core things that aligns with what we do here at StriveTogether. And the last most powerful principle is really around leveraging existing resources and really getting folks to remember that equity work and improvement work requires money, right? It requires a level of deep investment in our young people and our families. And so how do we position ourselves in a way that supports those types of efforts? So I've done too much talking. Jamie knows this, I don't like to do a lot of talking because with the coaching, it's like letting you guys lead. But you all have chosen StriveTogether because there is some alignment, right? There's some things about what we do at StriveTogether that connect to you all, that connect to the work that you're doing. And so I'm just curious to hear from folks. If we can have maybe 2 or 3 folks kind of share out, as I kind of went through long spiel about StriveTogether, where are you seeing some natural alignment and connection to some of the principles, some of the ideas that I've shared here? I'm going to stop share so I can see everybody's wonderful faces. I hate using PowerPoints. I usually don't use them, but just wanted to have a visual for y'all folks today. But curious to hear from folks. Any connections and alignment to your work that you're seeing?
You know, Quinn, we've been doing this in some form since about 2009, 2010, and it's taken a long time to figure out leveraging resources. And I think we're just now finally taking some baby steps and trying to figure out how to do that. You know, how to connect with partners and really maximize, you know, what we can do together in a better kind of partnership. So I think for us, it's been very empowering, maybe just in the last 2 years of figuring out, you know, really how to get some solid traction there.
Curious to hear from others. What's resonating, what's connecting?
I'll share. One of the things that we've been talking about a little bit is just how our data is a symptom of the structure that we live in. And I think one of the things that's exciting to me is the equity work and really focusing on hearing and inviting people that don't have a voice. Modoc County is a really traditional conservative county. And what tends to happen is that there's a lot of nepotism because it's certain family names, it's certain people that are in charge. And so it's been very slow going to try and even our executive committee is all people with names, you know, and trying to get them to kind of share that and invite that. Some of our areas like Surprise Valley is super open to it and excited about it. And we're working on designing like a community outreach and listening sessions and really inviting all different kinds of folks to participate. We also live in a very cowboy and Indian place where we have, you know, 5th generation ranchers right next to the reservation, and 3 or 4 reservations in our county. I think 4, because there's one up at Tule Lake. But so that is just like another layer. And our students see it. And I'm really excited to have students kind of have the youth lead some of these initiatives too, and bring it to the school and start it young. My family is from the Caribbean, and in Curacao, my cousin told me once they don't recycle, right? And I said, how can you not recycle? You guys should be recycling. It's an island, like everything's imported. How can you not? And she said, you have to start with the kids in elementary school and teach them about recycling. And maybe in 10 years, we'll have recycling because all the adults don't change. And so I kind of take that attitude sometimes out here, is that the younger you start, the better, because you can change those attitudes and back it up with action sooner. So those are kind of when you're talking, those are the things that are striking for me.
And thanks to Andy for sharing that.
I can kind of tag on to Tanya's thought that, you know, with the Siskiyou Works project, we're a partner with Cradles to Career for Siskiyou, is really identifying through data the barriers, what's not happening, and then creating or aligning with projects that are working to address those barriers. And we've, you know, when you talk about leveraging dollars, we've really, I think, worked to eye that and leverage dollars from all of our systems, you know, just to support addressing those barriers and trying to tackle the problems, you know, the barriers that are preventing folks from accessing those high-skilled, high-wage jobs or, you know, other opportunities in our county or regionally. So that really resonates with me.
We have time for one more. Anyone else that would like to share just something that's resonating with you and just a connection you see here?
I'll just jump in on the idea of the data that we use. And as Tanya put it, so much of it is a symptom of the systems. But a lot of our learning, while we have those large scale benchmark data points, we're now learning to look more closely at our local and community generated data that are the on the ground real-time indicators of where we're having impact or where we find we need to turn our attention. And that's been a tremendous learning curve for us to step out of system data to community data, but it just feels so right.
Actually, something that you guys are talking to is so powerful. You know, we use this, we have all the kind of our sayings that StriveTogether, that data is supposed to be used not as I gotcha, which that's, you know, how it feels and tends to be, but it's really an opportunity. It's a light, right, to share and to see where we noticing the sort of trouble areas and using it to illuminate what might be the barrier, right, as Maria said. What are we noticing as getting in the way? And using that sort of framework is a powerful example of how we think about continuous improvement, how we think about collaborative improvement here at StriveTogether. Before I turn over to Jamie, I just want to share a couple quick examples of what that looks like in practice and what does it look like for some of our communities in the network. We have a partnership, the Spartanburg Academic Movement, which is in Spartan, South Carolina. One of the challenges, again, illuminated through data that they found was that their highest concentration of young people who were living in poverty had some of the lowest third grade reading proficiency levels. As part of that solution, several prong approach. One, using our collaborative improvement model, which is looking at data, seeing where the trouble areas are. To Tanya's point, really thinking about how do we get clear on the context in which we're working in. That means what are the disparities that they're noticing by using the data. One of the things they found was that their African-American Latinx population was not doing and faring as well in comparison to some of their other racial groups. And really decided to say, hey, collectively at the district level, at the school level, and at the level with young people, right? Really engaging young people as part of the process. How can we use this idea around continuous improvement to really think differently about how we use data, how we use it for improvement and not as an I gotcha? And how do we use it as a way to collectively get better at third grade reading, knowing that third grade reading is one of those kind of goalposts, right, on the voyage and the journey towards economic mobility. And so as part of being tapping into some resources from StriveTogether, they received some district support coaching from one of our staff members who was a superintendent at one of the largest school districts in Cincinnati. They were able to, within several years, increase their third grade reading proficiency score from 60% during that academic year. And so again, just speaks to the power of when people see the challenge, using data to illuminate it, really considering the context and what is that kind of regional localized disparity. They were able to collectively and collaboratively come together to solve around a challenge that for some seemed like impossible. But to you all's point, really thinking about how do we get excited about data. How do we get excited about involving young people as part of the process? And just to share a little anecdote from here, my colleague who was supporting on this project shared with me, they even had young people who were doing PDSAs, which is like a short continuous improvements tool called Plan, Do, Study, Act. And they had young people in the classroom doing their own micro PDSAs around their academic work. So again, just speaks to the power of like what happens when we just involve everyone as part of this process and driving towards outcomes, improvement, and results. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn this over to Jamie because she's going to talk about wonderful opportunity for you all to get in partnership with us, but also really drive some of the pilot projects that you all will be focused on as part of this kind of 18-month engagement. So Jamie, I'll stop sharing. I'll kind of turn it over to you guys.
Thank you, Quinn. That was perfect segue into the next section. So we are super excited. Many of you have heard us talk about this 18-month plan, but haven't necessarily seen the nuts and bolts. So you can see in the agenda, there's a link, but don't let that overwhelm you. The big thing is just to get excited and engaged with StriveTogether and the network and the resources, and then apply that on a small scale to a pilot project of your county level's needs and choosing, and moving forward with the supports that they will provide us over the next 18 months, and seeing how it works and really getting into the meat of actually taking the theory that StriveTogether has and then putting it into action at your county level network. So with that, the real kickoff is, of course, our summit, which is next week, but we wanted to make sure our key people were kind of just aware and familiar with both the 18.
Jamie,
yeah.
you said it's not next week, it's next month. Our
next
summit.
Month.
My goodness.
That would be terrible. You wouldn't have food if it was next week. There's some logistics still. Monday, March 14th? Yes, Monday, March 14th at the Sheraton in Reading. We did have a location change, yes. If you show up next week, there might be a few of you, but you won't have food or planned agenda. So anyway, we're super excited for the summit and what we have designed for you all, which will really go into taking some of the StriveTogether learnings that we're going to have in the morning, and then coupling it with a success story out of Reach Higher Shasta and Shasta County, and then taking it and applying and talking about the county-based project and some of their toolkits, and then wrapping it up with how really to take policy, which we haven't had a lot of conversation about with North State Together, but start to have those conversations. How does policy come alongside with our practice changes to do systems transformation? So all that to say, lots of exciting stuff. I was hesitant to call this 18-month plan, and frankly, that's what we just put on the heading of the grant that Dr. Kate Mahar was nice enough to help us write to SH Cal. And I was hesitant because this doesn't mean that this ends in 18 months. The StriveTogether supports are ongoing. We intentionally chose to move forward with Strive, knowing that they would have the framework that we wanted to go through their benchmarks ongoing alongside of us for years to come. So do know that it's called an 18-month plan, but that simply means these are our goals for the next 18 months to get engaged with the StriveTogether resources and offerings, and conduct a small pilot equity project that Kate's going to go into a little bit about what that will look like for you all without being too intimidated about adding to your plates. But I think you'll get really excited. And with that, I know Dr. Mahar has another meeting, so I want to make sure that she has time to highlight what we're thinking with that county-based project and what some of the overall logistics might look like. Kate?
Wonderful. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, everyone. This is just really exciting. And Quinn, I love how you said a goal, just advancing equity as it relates to the local context. So one of the things that we're going to be able to do when we'll start the conversation of the summit is really think about what equity, diversity, inclusion means for each one of your counties, whether that means, what Shasta County really dug into was our Indigenous youth as related to attendance. I know Siskiyou County has just done an amazing job looking at ACEs, as has Tehama. So really looking at what equity means to you in your local context, and then starting to think about what an intervention could be locally. And there's great tools from Strive that help you really disaggregate that data, identify some issues, and then start thinking about interventions that could be used as Quinn said, as proof points. Does this seem to make a difference? Is this, you know, a sort of a toe in the water of a possible project that can make help you achieve your goals at the local level? So we'll start that conversation in the summit, thinking about your own priorities, looking at data, and then identifying some possible solutions to try. Thanks to SH Cowell, each community will get $5,000 to try out that project. And it really could be anything from additional training. It could be mural project. It could be curriculum. It's going to be up to you in your own context to decide how you want to try to advance some of your own goals. So it'll be a really great conversation. And what's also exciting is 18 months from now at our next summit, folks will be able to showcase those projects as well as a way of really letting folks know what's happening. And we're hoping your counties share commonalities, but we also know how unique each one of the counties are. So we're hoping that each project is as unique as you all are. And with the combination of projects, we'll get a really good sort of landscape of what's possible in our communities. So excited to allow folks to have some tangible tools and just small amount of resources to try to move the needle and get some of those pilots going. And I can't wait to have that conversation with you, not only at the summit, but over the next year.
Thank you, Kay. I'm super excited about that. Oh, I see a clapping. That's great. Others are too. It's going to be a really great 18 months of what we have planned for you to have resources behind this pilot project and to really dive into some of the amazing toolkits. Because like we can send you a 10-page PDF, but until you actually put that and how easy it is and slick it is, some of their toolkits to go, oh, that's not scary. Collaborative improvement is putting these in here and just applying it to our local work that maybe we're even already doing. So I think we'll really be able to improve what we're doing. And then with that, the end of the 18 months is of course that big showcase summit that we will have, but also in between, there'll be a lot of targeted supports around the project where we can all get together and kind of talk about what each of us are doing and then lead through the equity toolkit, which is a really slick way of putting in, this is what we're looking at. And this is the outcomes we're wanting, and this is the strategies we're going to use. So I think you'll be really excited to actually apply this at your county levels. And maybe even there'll be a point where we're going to have you do a PDSA around it when you get farther with your with the pilot. And Tanya, maybe it's something that students could even do, which would be really exciting. So it's just a way for us to really engage with the resources that that they have offered with StriveTogether and have us all engage as a region around it. And then hopefully, you know, my dream is the next 18 months looks at the pilot projects that we're working and then scaling them both in your counties and perhaps if it's applicable to the other counties, because that is the design of North State Together, right? Is here we are putting forth interventions. And if that's something that would be scalable to both within our counties, but you know, to the whole region to make the most effect. So I am really excited about the potential of what can happen in the next 18 months. And I hope you all are too. What else am I seeing? Let me look at the agenda real quick. And Quinn, feel free to jump in if I'm missing something.
Yeah, Jamie, I just have one quick thing here.
Yeah.
And I shared this with Jamie and the team as we were preparing for this call, that we are keenly aware that you all have been engaged in continuous improvement and improvement work because your heart, it just as I saw from the check-in, is about youth and families and doing whatever it takes to really center your work in what the improvement that you all are wanting to see for your respective counties. And so when I think of collaborative improvement, I think of it as take what you need. Jamie will know this from just sitting in sessions with me. I'm very much an advocate of like collaborative improvement for the people. So take what aspect relates to your work, where you see some natural alignment, and use what feels natural and feels like a connection to what you need. And know that a host of supports from Jamie and her team, There's universal supports that will come from StriveTogether. And there will be some direct supports from me as well, just to really dive into the model for folks that are interested. That is part of this kind of 18-month packet. I did have a couple questions. Jamie, if you don't mind me throwing these in the chat here. And it really was just to hear from you guys, like, what impact do you feel like these supports would have on your work? And we're always interested in the value add, like what value add would these supports have on you and in your community, and also just on your pilot. And so we'd love to hear from a couple folks. If I'm always a proponent of, if you want to share in the chat as well too, please feel free to share in the chat. But curious to hear from folks, as you kind of heard from Jamie, heard from just my long spiel about StriveTogether. Where do you see this might impact the work you're doing, and where might be just a value add? What are you seeing? And I used to be a former teacher, so I'm very comfortable with wait time as well. Folks are still thinking. But Kathy, I think I saw you come off mute.
I did. I feel bad when it's quiet. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I struggle personally as a coordinator with folks that have so much on their plates right now that asking anything else just seems so much, whether we're asking teachers to do something, whether we're asking, you know, educators, business people, you name it. So I guess I'm comforted in knowing that this is tried and true, and there's some steps to take, and it feels very normal. It doesn't feel, I'm excited to get back to like what is considered normal work and, you know, moving kids forward. So I'm going to be looking for examples of things that we can do that don't actually ask a whole lot above and beyond what people already feel excited or comfortable doing, you know, so there's going to be a little bit of that, but excited to have structure. I think we're probably, we call ourselves sort of the hippies of the group, and structure is a good thing, and we always need to remember that. So I'm looking forward to finding comfort in the structure and looking for those things that just aren't, you know, we probably won't be doing anything big and crazy and fancy, but definitely something maybe that can add to work that's being done and people can get excited about.
Kathy, that's really great. I think that's been our constant refrain as we build this out, is to make sure that we're supporting, not adding to the plates with this process. So I think you'll see in the design of it all, that is absolutely at the forefront of how our approach for the whole 18 months, for lack of a better term. It's really going to be having you have the autonomy, work that you're all doing, small, easy things, like it looks like from the simplest version of filling out that equity toolkit with your teams around things that you already know and data you already know. Like, this is what we want to try, or maybe we're already trying and now we're just going to kind of build upon it and do a PDSA around it. So it's not heavy. And it comes with, you know, a small monetary amount to just, you know, have some funding around whatever it is you're doing or wanting to try or already doing. So absolutely, I can't tell you how many times we've had that conversation. We just had it as a team last week. So it's at the forefront and driver of what our planning. So,
and Kathy, I should emphasize that too. We know that you all have some projects and site ideas identified, and this will help just solidify and support versus any type of in addition to.
I just wanted to add too that as a North State Together team, we did talk about how the 5,000 is coming from the Caldwell Foundation. And if you'd like to use that as a match towards the North State Together match, we're more than happy to accommodate that. So 10,000 towards a pilot project, I think would be a great help to you all.
Yeah, Susan always comes in with the really important details. Thanks, Susan. Yeah, that's great.
And Jamie, I know that you guys have other business items, so I'll get out of the way here. The last question we really had, and Kathy, you were just headed right in that direction, which is want to get a sense as we're thinking about the ways in which to support you guys in this process. What would you need to answer, or any other additional supports that you would need to fully just integrate the level of supports just want to leave some space right now for folks to put any questions in the chat here or to just, come off mute. Any other questions that you need answered to really fully take up this work for the next 18 months here? And Susan, more money always helps. So I appreciate you.
And again, these are the introductory calls for y'all. We're going to give you lots of information about this at our summit in just a month's time, March 14th. So, as you're thinking about questions, always email us. You know how we'd love to get your questions and respond to them. And Quinn's great about being responsive to us as well. So this is exciting.
Well, Susan, Jamie, Kevin, you guys, I appreciate you all just giving me space to be on the call with you all. I will hop off because I know that you guys have other business items to attend to. But as Susan said, I'm more than happy to hop on a call just from the StriveTogether end. If folks want to talk and just get a sense of our universal support and to talk any details about maybe more targeted supports that I'll share and provide with the team, more than happy to talk offline. But again, you guys, appreciate your time. Very jealous of those folks who are going on vacations in the beautiful weather. I'm in Chicago, so I'm like very jealous of all the beautiful weather you guys are experiencing, but looking forward to this engagement with you guys for the next 18 months.
Thank you so much, Quinn. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys.
Okay, well, I think we wanted the focus of this meeting just to kind of be on what we just went over, unless there was something else that somebody wanted to talk about while we have the group together. I think MODOC is hosting the next one. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, great. And so, yeah, just be looking out. We're still kind of finalizing some of the announcement for the summit that's going out, and so we'll be sure to email you all that. We're kind of having our broader first session that people are more than welcome to, and then as the day goes on, we're kind of refining it down to the county level work. But again, we'll be sending out some more thorough descriptors of the day, but everything's looking really good. Thank you, Jamie, not only for your hard work around the summit, but more importantly, really working with Kelly. And Kelly is somebody who's a big fan of Strive and the work that they've done. And so those two were the catalysts of us joining this partnership with them. And I think it's going to be really good for the region. And then one of the things that I like is that it preserves the independence that the counties can still operate with some autonomy, at the same time gives some tools and some framework to help you get where you want to go. So is there anything else that anybody else has any comments or questions? Or should we call it a day? Well, not a day, a meeting. We'll call it a meeting. James is still looking outside at the beautiful weather. He might call it a day. Okay. Great way to start the week.
Yes, all absolutely.
You. And it'll be really nice to see everybody in person soon. So take care, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.